I'm Neil Nixon, and I'm reporting from NAB Show New York at the Javits Convention Center in New York City. I'm joined this afternoon by Geir Bryn-Jensen, CEO of Nevion, and his colleague Luan Linibar, who is the Director of Business Development. Geir, perhaps we could start by you telling us a little bit about the history of Nevion. I understand it's celebrating its 20th year anniversary this year. So where did it all start?
Well, the whole small adventure that we have, it started back in 1996, so it is really an anniversary for us. 20 years in business, 20 years of what we like to call technology and innovation for our customers. It all started back in Norway and has expanded to become a global enterprise for us. So what we do is really serving broadcasters, content producers, anyone who needs to do connectivity for high media production, provide them with the connectivity they need, or the technology for the connectivity. And it all started with fiber communication, SDI, baseband, transport, and after 10 years-ish in business, we started to build connectivity for telcos, so the telcos could offer connectivity to broadcasters with IP technology. So that was the start of the beginning of what we are reinventing at this point, where technology becomes an enabler to help content producers do more than they probably used to do, because the way media is consumed is dramatically changing and dramatically impacting how broadcasters and all the surroundings need to work, workflows, etc. So now proven IT disciplines are really becoming a tool to become more effective in content production and maybe do more with less resource, basically, in some instances.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here with Luan as well. She came on board a couple of years ago and has decades of experience in the broadcast industry, lot of experience with IP connectivity, compression, and is really working as an advisor between our customers and Nevion to see, where do we need to focus in order to be value adding to our customers in the future.
So one of the things we're doing here and working on is helping traditional broadcasters get over the fear of this IT technology that's now infiltrating the broadcast space, and the reverse. We'll work with our IT partners. We'll say, well, why do broadcasters need more than two audios? It's like, well, language, So we have really, in recent years, been heavily involved in managing across all these disparate pieces of equipment, from the camera all the way to where it gets handed off for packaging for over the top, to make sure that the offering is consistent, so that the person that's using this interface can look at it so it looks like a broadcast console, or look at it so it looks like an IT interface. Because we have this broad background of broadcast, IT, satellite, IP, we can make it look and feel like what they're used to. And then we have a platform that we just introduced called Virtuoso that lets you move from having to have a purpose-built box in every single place to having a card-based or a SFP or connector-based migration path. So you can keep some of your baseband, because you can't afford to throw everything away, especially in this climate, and you can slowly migrate. And you can do it in pieces and make it seamless so that the user still sees the same interface. So our video iPath that does monitoring, management, troubleshooting, as well as our Virtuoso platform helps ease that transition. And so here we're seeing, this whole clash of, people who write apps, people who just deal in the cloud, people who everything's virtualized. But if you're doing really mission critical, very expensive live program origination like the Olympics, you have to count on it, you have to trust it. So that's where we kind of come in to make sure that we are giving them something that they can trust and believe is going to be reliable when it's mission critical.
And your customers are global? Or,
yes.
Obviously we're here in New York, you're based in Scandinavia.
Yeah, we got a headquarter in Norway. and then we got development offices and sales and customer project offices spread from Beijing to LA, basically.
Yeah.
So we have to be global. That's how this industry works.
And our customers are broadcasters, they're service providers, and because that's becoming much more of a global exercise, you wouldn't have just one continent. For example, for the Rio Olympics that just happened, the CBC in Canada remotely produced a lot of their venue. They switched it live out of Canada so that they could stay focused on the Canadian athletes. So they could dynamically switch live out of Canada what was happening between the major world feeds and the individual venue feeds that focused on their athletes. So it's that kind of a thing where they're going across continents, but they're dynamically switching it live from home. And that's one of the things we specialize in.
And your end game, I guess, is to make connectivity simple for your customers. Is that right?
And make it simple, utilize the most effective technology at all times, which is becoming more and more IT and software centric. But it's not a standard data IT network, because it has to work for this mission critical, live, high bitrate content data. So that's sort of the niche, if we can call it that, to enable clouds and IT networks to carry that mission critical, high bitrate information and data, entertainment. That's the niche. It is driving towards more software centric platforms. So that's what Luan was saying. We launched this year a platform called Virtuoso. It's basically a server that you can enable to do what you needed to do at any instant, from an orchestration management interface that could be sitting everywhere, location independent. And all of that is giving you sort of a virtualized environment to work in. We like to call it the cloud of real time. It's like our bus. So it's a cloud. It's cloud-enabled principles, but it's enabling real-time transport of high bitrate data, basically. So the future is more of that, more virtualized environments, more software for sure, and probably a lot more change for the industry.
And also a real activity with the groups that are doing the interoperability testing and making sure we all connect together. We're part of the EBU VRT Live IP project, which is camera all the way through. They used it for IBC TV this past September. And so we're very involved in making sure that we try to get as close as possible to true plug and play so that we can work together in the industry.
We need to add value. It's not locking customers in or doing anything fancy. It's just adding value to our customers' core business, which is producing content, basically.
Yeah. Enables them to get on with what they do best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
get over the fear.
Absolutely. I hope you both have a very successful event this week. And thank you very much both for joining me in this chat this afternoon. It's been a pleasure to meet you both, and enjoy the show.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
You as well.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.